got a download in the middle of the shower. Such a convenient time, correct? And I have to hold it, you know what I'm saying? When you get certain downloads, you gotta hold it a little bit because, you know, sometimes, you know, going back in the collective consciousness. But there was this download and all I kept hearing was Wattpad. And the way Spirit is about to assist me in branching off from that one word is insane. Like, I can feel it. Actually, I really don't mind pre-recording my readings and messages now. Like, at first I was like, oh, maybe it's not as authentic, but like, it's probably the most authentic as it can be because I'm alone and I'm not like in front of an audience. So I'm not subconsciously performing in front of you all. Not saying that I do that intentionally, but you know, we tend to do that. It's normal for us to have a little performance mask on when we're going more live. We're going live with this and stuff. So anyway, but yeah, the download was called Wattpad, and I think they gave this to me specifically because I was a child on Wattpad. If you don't know what Wattpad is, I don't know if this message or these downloads are going to resonate with you. They might, but I'm going to explain it for the people who don't know what that is. Wattpad was an app, and I'm pretty sure it's still an app that exists. It was an app for basically underground writers. So people who wrote books, they literally would write books, right? I was not a writer on there. I was a consumer. And the thing is, it's crazy because I'm not really much of a reader, but I was really reading those Jones when I was younger. I read things I'm very, very interested in. Anyway, so if you're wondering what type of genres, what type of books on there, it's a lot of ghetto shit. It's a lot of uncensored. It's a lot of even kids writing books. Like these were teenagers writing books, so like they were as wild as they can be. So like there were books about freaking girls dating drug dealers. There were books about freaking girls becoming strippers to feed themselves, and it was a lot of like you know, there was vampire books on there. There was like just a lot of books that were just centered around coming of age, but like in a dark and twisted way. So that just kind of like, yeah, I'm not sure if it was all about that, but bruh, if you were on Wattpad in elementary, middle, or high school, I'm pretty sure a lot of us stopped reading in high school, but mainly middle school, then you know what Wattpad was really centered around, or the Wattpad books that most girls, or if you were a guy, were reading. They were so good. Anyway, I feel like Spirit gave me this download because I think Spirit would like for me to discuss how you can get false expectations or even grow up a certain way, or grow up a certain way specifically off of the things you consumed in life. And that's almost similar to the nature versus nurture theory, you know, like how you grew up in your family, how they raised you. Oops, my nipple came in the camera. I'll edit that out. How they raised you and what you were exposed to. So we don't talk about a lot of things. I feel like we don't talk about enough the things we are exposed to, how that heavily affects us and how we grow up. A lot of people are like, oh, how did you grow up this way? If you came from this family, or, you know, some people even from more rougher families, how did you grow up so soft? You know what I'm saying? Or and vice versa. Or how did you get into this trouble? Or how did you, you know, why do you go for this type of person? And it's like, yeah, a lot of it is our childhood trauma, how we were raised, what our parents were like. But a lot of it also is what we just saw. Like, for example, like our parent, for some people, a lot of your parents genuinely didn't condone certain things. Like, you weren't raised that way, but the environments they had you in were the complete opposite. So they're telling you not to do something. They're raising you a certain way, but the environment that you're brought up in, like the schools you go to, the sports clubs you're in, the after school programs you're in, you know, the other family members you are brought up around, like all those still do play a massive role in how you turn out growing up. And I feel like people really need to start analyzing that part of their lives, because sometimes parents don't fail, or sometimes parents lose their kids to the world. That's just what it is. Unfortunately, losing your kids to, honestly, that's a great fear of mine. Honestly, having a kid and losing it to the world, because this world is, you know, is unchy, bruh. Like, you could do everything quote unquote right as a parent, and still your child could get into some things that they had no better into getting into, or they had to get into certain things as far as to grow spiritual, whatever, because you can't control everything your child experiences. It's very disheartening. Anyway, let's get back on topic. If you were a Wattpad kid, you probably now have some very dark humor. You probably have some darker imaginative, that a word? Darker images in your brain, like as far as like just from what you read. Like, you might not completely mimic everything you saw, or everything you read from Wattpad books, but those are my brother, bro. They're still implanted in your brain because you were soaking those things up. And in a sense, as a child reading Wattpad books, you're almost glorifying it, or you're like, if you're not glorifying it, you're so intrigued with the drama. It's almost similar, like, if it wasn't Wattpad, it was Pretty Little Liars. If it wasn't Wattpad, it was Gilmore Girls. And a lot of people don't like to really like look deep into Gilmore Girls and how that show was actually very toxic, and the dynamic between the mother and the daughter. We're not gonna get into that, but we don't get into how the shows affect us growing up, and how like the media affects us growing up. We need to just talk about it because it plays a big role. And it's not even like, oh, these kids are pretending to be something they're not. If you are a kid and you've grown up with like amazing, when I'm telling you, like, amazing imagination, right? The way the imagination works and the way the brain works, I feel like I've researched it, where I'm naked and my window's open. I've researched it, and the brain sometimes can't tell if an experience is real or not. So if you are heavily connected to a show, a book, or something, and it's affecting you emotionally, you will still feel that pain as if you're going through it in real life. So we have to also put science into backing this up as far as how these things can affect us in our psyche. And I'm not saying we have to be little pussies and never watch anything that's on the edge of glory, you know what I'm saying, ever again. But we just to be cognizant and to be aware of the stuff we did take in as a child, in our adolescent brain, in our undeveloped brain, you know what I'm saying? Because I'll be 25 next year, so my brain will be fully developed, whatever that means, so to speak. I feel it genuinely. I genuinely believe that our brain develops as much as it wants to, depending on you. But yeah, like, we have to put that into perspective. Like, there are so many things we consumed as a child that really did a number on us subconsciously. And like, those type of things don't really even come up until we're like in our 20s. And then we're like, holy shit, I learned this from freaking Wattpad. I learned this from a show I watched over and over again as a child. I learned this behavior from things I glorified in media. It's just a crazy concept, to be honest. But yeah. 9-minute video. I think that's it for now. I'm not gonna stretch this out or make it is what it isn't. If you got the message, you got it. If you didn't, you didn't. I was really gonna be like, yeah, I'm not gonna edit this video, but I did have a nip slip in the beginning, so I'm gonna have to edit that out. But yeah, I love you guys, and I will see you guys in the next video.